welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program, we'll catch up with Ron Yacobucci of the Quincy Workforce Development Department. First, though, we do check out the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, looks like the snow is just about stopped. It's cloudy, 21 degrees right now. It really is not going to warm up much, only in the low 20s this afternoon. Look at tonight. We're back down to the single digits. We start a very slow warm-up beginning tomorrow with a mix of sun and clouds. Highs tomorrow right around 30 degrees. A little warmer on Wednesday, the high in the low 40s. And then the big meltdown here on Thursday. Lots of clouds, but look at Thursday's highs up near 60 degrees. Could have some rain move in Thursday night, and looks like a wind-swept rain for most of the day on Friday. Right now, though, cloudy, 21 degrees here in Quincy. In the news today, it is back to work for the Quincy City Council tonight. Council is meeting 2 weeks in a row because next Monday is President's Day. Among the items under consideration is a proposed residential property tax exemption. Several councilors are supporting an ordinance that would provide some tax relief for owner-occupied homes here in Quincy. Ward 4 City Councilor Brian Palmucci says the idea is to increase taxes on large apartment buildings to make up what would be lost from the tax exemption.
What happens is there's a shift. So you're saying that anybody who's eligible for an exemption would get this exemption, this certain percentage of their taxes, right? So say it equates to $500 off the average tax bill. That would be made up for not in budget cuts and loss of service, but in the tax bills going up for properties like Avalon or other high density rental properties, or even non-high density rental properties. It would go up on people who don't live in their home. For folks who live elsewhere, their taxes would go up by some amount that corresponds with the total amount that the residents would benefit from a tax exemption. So it wouldn't be a budget cut and a loss of service. It'd be a shifting of the tax burden in some like amount from Quincy residents who own and live in their property. The burden would shift from them in a like amount to those who do not live in their property but own in Quincy.
Now, state law already allows for the residential exemption. The plan is to allow for an exemption of up to 35% of the average assessed value of a Class 1 residential property. The result could be a savings of between $500 and $800 per year for the average homeowner. The measure is being studied by the City Council's Finance, Oversight, and Ordinance Committees. City Council also considering a request from the mayor for $1.5 million to study the feasibility of building a new Squantum Elementary School. That study is the first step in making the project eligible for reimbursement from the state. Mayor Thomas Koch says the plan is to build a new school behind the current school and then tear the current school down.
Well, the beauty is we have city-owned land right behind it. Mm-hmm. With parkland there. So, my guess is there'll be a brand new facility and the old school will come down and replace the green space that the new school will have taken up. Okay. So it's kind of a swap off of the land. Probably spend a little time on engineering with traffic in the driveways and make things a little cleaner. Well, when these schools were designed, they weren't designed for cars to be dropping kids off. They were designed for kids walking to school.
Right. Yep.
So we're going to make some adjustments on the traffic configuration as well. But my guess is it will be a little bit more residential looking, the building. I mean, you're in the heart of a residential neighborhood. Certainly don't want a commercial looking building. There's some talk that we did at Central. We took some elements from the old building and try to incorporate it into the new building. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's early in the process, but it should be a really good process and a fun process in some ways.
Some city councilors suggested that the new school be a net zero building, meaning it removes as much greenhouse gas emissions from the air as it creates. Mayor says it's too early in the process for that discussion, but says the option is on the table. The cyber attack on the City of Quincy's computer network is delaying the distribution of the city census. City Clerk Nicole Crispo says that they are hoping to get the census forms out in the mail soon.
We have had a couple of setbacks just due to getting our new maps, getting all the wards and precincts that we had to get changed in our vital records computers with the state, get over to the city side, get that done so that everybody that gets a census will have their new ward and precinct right on it. We thought that was important, a good first step to, letting people know of a change. We're going to send out a letter or a card as we get closer to the election to let people know if they had a change in their ward and precinct. It looks like about 7,500 people had a change. The first map that we came up with went back to the drawing board a second time. We took another look. We had to change some lines due to representative seats, and we did that. So, we'll only have one split district in our city as opposed to 8 with the first map.
Crispo says reminders will be going out in early August about any changes in precincts or voting locations. She's also waiting for the legislature to decide if there will be early and mail-in voting for the upcoming state election. The primary is set for September 6th, with the general election on November 8th. Well, a record $1,800 was raised during the 6th annual Howes Neck Polar Plunge in Quincy. About 50 of these brave souls plunged into the icy waters off the public landing recently to raise money for the Atherton House Schools PTO. Organizers said this was the biggest turnout. It raised the most amount of money. It was the 6th plunge in the past 7 years because the event had to be canceled last year due to the pandemic. Special thanks going out to Bob Bosworth of the Quincy Sun for providing those pictures. The Norfolk County Registry of Deeds is recognizing Black History Month by highlighting African Americans who've lived in Norfolk County and participated in the civil rights movement or contributed to the advancement of Black people in society. A Register of Deeds, Bill O'Donnell, praised Audie Cornish from Randolph, who graduated Randolph Public Schools, UMass Amherst, and went on to become a reporter and journalist for the Associated Press and public radio station WBUR. O'Donnell also put the spotlight on former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick, who lived in Milton. Florida Ruffin of Brookline was one of the first African-American public school teachers in Boston. Henry Diggs from Norwood, who served in the U.S. Army Signal Corps during World War II. And Sam Jones, who won 10 championships with the Boston Celtics in the late 50s and early 60s. He lived in Sharon and died just recently at the age of 88. Coming up, we have a chat with Ron Iacobucci, the Workforce Development Director here in the city of Quincy. That's next. Welcome back. We're going to talk employment activity, unemployment activity, and the labor market in general here on the South Shore with Ron Iacobucci, Executive Director of Workforce Development for the City of Quincy. Happy Valentine's Day, Ron.
Thank you, Joe.
You bring love and good tidings of job opportunities and career advancement.
Oh, wow.
Great salary increases.
There you go. You're looking for a job?
Well, I guess the good news is the Career Center is open again.
Yeah, well, we are. We're open. We've always been open.
Right.
But we're now returning to in-person services. It's been a roller coaster ride, as you know. Over the last couple of years, we've been working remotely for a significant period of that time, and then we came back, and then the next wave of the variant hit, and we had to retreat. I mean, our primary concern is the safety of the staff as well as the customers, and you know, we want to keep people safe. We want to try not to be spreading the virus. So we've been on again, off again. We're back. Our staff, though, is working hybrid, so they do work from home still. For a couple of days a week.
Okay.
And it seems to be working well. I mean, we typically see mostly virtually, 60, 70 people a week in our Career Center seminars. We take a tremendous volume of calls every day, so literally hundreds of people are touching our Career Center remotely. The people that do come in
Yes.
are the people that have problems with unemployment,
Yes.
and we see quite a few of those folks, especially up in our Quincy office. So. And
I
we-
remember that was a big concern of yours during the height of the pandemic.
Yeah, it was.
You'd be overwhelmed by people because there was such a,
Yeah.
a problem with unemployment,
Yeah.
and getting those issues addressed. Is that
I mean,
kind
there
of
were
settled down?
over 4 million
Yeah.
unemployed folks in Massachusetts
Yeah.
that were claiming. That's been reduced significantly.
Okay.
But the problem we have now, which is really not so much our problem because we're not the unemployment office, but it's a problem, and that is with some of these overpayments that were made, and there's a big issue going on now about whether or not these people have to pay money back because their unemployment claim was approved, but
Yes.
yet their benefit rate might have not been right, or there was some documentation that was missing, and so there's literally over 300,000 people that are in that
Is that right?
dilemma. Yeah, it's
that-
unbelievable, and you're
that's
talking
a-
about $2.6 billion
Yeah.
that they're claiming now needs to be paid back. So we have some of those folks coming in, but it's difficult. Other than trying to do the best we can to network them with the right people, we really have no control over making those problems go away.
And that's going to have tax implications for those people
Yes.
as well. To pay
Yeah.
Unemployment benefits are taxable.
Unemployment
So
benefits are taxable.
if that figure
can
is
you believe
wrong-
that?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't figure that one out. But yeah, those benefits are taxed, and people probably getting their IRS tax forms, the 1099s,
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
So that's going to delay that process as well. Until
Yeah, it gets very complicated.
Yeah.
It gets very complicated. But our focus is on working with job seekers and employers,
Yes.
as you know,
Yes.
and putting them together. And we still have a lot of employers that are looking for people to work, and
Really?
we still have a lot of people that maybe have exhausted their unemployment benefits, not being counted now because the rate has come down, but yet they're still not participating for a variety of reasons. And so we're dealing with that because it's the whole idea with workforce development. It's not just Quincy. We deal with the whole South Shore. On behalf of the mayor, I'm privileged to, on his behalf, to oversee the workforce system for the entire South Shore.
Wow.
We operate both Quincy all the way down to Plymouth.
Yep.
And our focus is on putting people into jobs, getting people trained, that sort of activity.
So what is kind of the current state of the job market on the South Shore, Ron?
Well, it's improving
Yes.
in the sense that there's some good jobs out there, and I think you have maybe some slides if you want to share. But the
We
unemployment
don't have
rate.
slides, unfortunately.
Oh, you don't?
No,
Okay.
so we'll have to be very
Oh,
descriptive.
that would be very descriptive. Okay. Well, our unemployment rate in Quincy is at around between 4 and 5%.
Yeah.
It's slowly coming down, and that's pretty much the average in the South Shore area. But again, I point out that even though those people are being counted because they're collecting unemployment benefits, the people that aren't being counted are the people that have exhausted their benefits that are still out there.
Right.
And there's a significant number of people that received benefits through the PUA system, the gig workers, the self-employed, the contractors. They never received unemployment benefits before. And we're still trying to get a handle on those people because those are the folks that might be interested in coming back into the workforce in a regular job instead of
Okay.
going back. Because, when you're self-employed, you're constantly chasing work and you're chasing your money. Chasing work and chasing your money,
and
right?
you're your own accountant, too, right?
Yeah,
Trying to
so
keep the books,
so
yeah.
there are opportunities out there for those folks if we could start doing some outreach and making some connections to put them into opportunities. I had one fellow that was on PUA, and he said he was on PUA for an extended time, and he
For
was
folks
getting a
who don't know,
regular
just
check.
PUA is-
That's the pandemic unemployment
Okay,
assistance.
thank you.
Yeah. So he was on for an extended period of time, but
Yeah.
he was getting that regular check
Sure.
every week.
Sure.
And he said, I kind of like to get a job where I get a regular check every week.
Oh, is this what it's like? Yeah.
Yeah, this is what it's like.
Right,
Yeah. So
yeah.
so there are plenty of those kinds of opportunities. We need to connect with those people. And, the unemployment has gone from a high in the South Shore of over 50,000 down to just a little over 4,000
Yeah.
now. So it is moving in the right direction, but there's still the participation rate. And that, if you look at the numbers, Massachusetts, I've got some labor market information that tells me Massachusetts is significantly below the country as a whole, and our South Shore region typically is below any of the other regions in Massachusetts. So what I mean by that below is, the participation rate is low.
Yes.
People aren't going back, and that could be, childcare, pet care, elder care. They don't like the job they had. They want a better job. You know, that there's a lot of they're concerned about the pandemic still, and being out there, you know, in the workforce. And
So what do you think the true number is? Do you think it's double?
Yeah, I want to double it.
Yeah.
I mean, my gut is that it's probably bigger than that,
So
and
like
that's pretty significant.
Yeah, it is.
When you have that, but there's potential there, and we need to reach those people. So, those in your listening audience that are employers that are struggling to find, you know, people to fill jobs, or people that are out there that are thinking, okay, I want to get back into the workforce.
Yeah.
You know, the Career Center is the place to connect, and it's very simple in terms of reaching us and connecting with us. I mean, they can do it in person.
Yep.
We're there Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 4:30. We do close down from 12 to 1 in Quincy, same in Plymouth, and we do. Have a phone number, which I'll say. May I say
we've
it?
got that up on
Okay,
the screen for you.
617-745-4000.
Sure.
We've got some great people that respond immediately when you call. There's also a website, which is masshiress.com.
Okay.
And there's a very brief form in which you just share some contact information, and someone will get right back to you.
Okay.
And we could plug you in. You attend a workshop that gives you kind of an orientation, and we take it from there in terms of your adventure with us.
Where's the physical office located?
1515 Hancock Street in
Okay.
Quincy. Yeah.
So
And,
for a point of reference, what's that near?
that's in the old next to the old Remix building.
Okay.
Yeah, right on.
For
right
us
on
old-timers.
Right, yeah, right. And actually, our back door is great because we open right up on the General's Bridge.
Yes.
And the park, which
Yes.
is magnificent.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really great to be right in that spot. You know, and a lot of activity is going to be happening in that spot too.
We heard a lot, and we still hear a lot about the Great Resignation.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Who resigned? Where did they go? And what did they leave open?
So the Great Resignation, it's an expression. A lot of people have quit the workforce. We find that most of those people that have quit the workforce are more mature workers. You know, they're 45, 55, 65
Careful.
years old. Careful. Okay, yeah. No. And those people, you know, I mean, either they were not happy with their job, they feel, you know, they've been out for a while, maybe they want to take a break. I mean, those are we find the highest percentage of the people that are resigning or leaving the workforce are the more mature workers.
Okay.
That's about 80% of the
Really?
constitutes those that have departed.
So
to
maybe they
speak.
were anticipating retiring in a few years anyway, so they said, why wait?
Why wait?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things have changed because of this, and especially in workforce development, and especially in the workforce, in the workplace. I mean, you know, we've never been in a situation where we've worked remotely or in a hybrid situation, and that seems to be common practice now. Everything is on Zoom. You know, these things are helpful. I don't see us going back to what we were.
Ever,
and I think
really.
you know, we as since we're dealing with employers and job seekers, we need to be aware of those changes too,
Sure.
because it affects how we perform, how we function. And one of the things that one of the goals we have this year is to create a mobile access point in our district. So we want to have a unit, whether you want to call it a bus or a van, whatever,
Okay.
that could literally go to town halls, it can go to shopping malls, it can go to schools, and become an access point where people can plug in. You know, we want to do more. We hired a communications coordinator recently, so we could do more with social media
Yes.
and do more in terms of outreach to people, because we're not finding a lot of people physically coming in anymore.
Okay.
And especially, you know, that whole big number that was on the pandemic unemployment assistance never came in at all. We don't even know who they are. So we need to really be doing more outreach to connect to people, to let them know about the opportunities that are there, and to connect the job seekers and employers, hopefully.
Interesting. Where would you bring this, you know, mobile unit to, do you think?
Everywhere and
Everywhere,
anywhere. Yeah. I mean, I could see us working in the malls.
Okay.
I could see us working in the schools.
Yep.
I mean, we have a youth team. We have a business engagement team. They can go to employer sites. You know, it's an opportunity, and especially with a lot of youth that really can't come to a career center. You know, we could go to them, and I
Okay.
think that's the idea: is to create that access point that could be flexible and move around the 22 towns that we serve. And that seems to be something that fits better with the way the workforce is going now and the way jobs are going.
Do you
So-
think that the traditional job fair that used to happen is dead?
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do all of those virtually now,
Okay.
and some have been very successful, but you know, the physical, involvement connection
Yeah.
has been missing for quite some time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And employers are okay with that?
They're okay with
They're
that.
okay
yeah.
with that.
They're working with it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what they work with. So,
Interesting.
and we try to facilitate that as best we can for them.
How important is it? I know we've talked about this before. Retraining the workforce for the new tomorrow.
Yeah, it's all about skills
Mm-hmm.
and acquiring skills. Less about maybe getting academic credentials.
Mm.
It's more trying to get into. We find too that what makes sense, and we're pivoting to this, is more apprenticeships, more on-the-job training. So an employer could potentially have a position, and they need people with certain skills, and we could then train them to fill those skills while they're either on the job or through an apprenticeship program.
Okay.
And we want to, and you're going to see more money coming because all of our programs are funded by the Department of Labor.
Yes.
Under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And so you're going to see more of an effort through the Department of Labor to push in that direction because I think that's a better connection in terms of getting people into jobs. So employers are taking people sort of on speculation, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
They might not have the skills or the experience that they're actually looking for, but they can learn on the job, and we can help to support that financially.
Right, yeah.
And that's what could potentially make a difference for people. The training is something that we're out there getting the pulse on where the jobs are,
Yeah.
what the need is for training, and we translate that into working with our community schools. Quincy College
Yes.
is one example.
Yeah.
And we're training for things that are timely, and we're trying to find people that potentially could fit into that training and get a better job, get a better pay. Those PUA workers that I was talking about that don't want to go back chasing work and money can potentially find some opportunities, and that's what we want to be training for, because we're judged
Yep.
based on how we put people into jobs.
You have to show that you're using your funding
Correct.
effectively, right?
Correct. Yeah. Placement is key for us.
Yeah.
And that's something that's required by not only us but also the schools we work with, the employers we work with. We want to be able to invest in people, but we want to make sure that investment pays off and them getting a decent job at a decent rate of pay.
Healthcare, number one.
Yeah, in the South Shore.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always big. Yeah.
Ripe for
yeah.
opportunity there, it looks like.
Registered nurses. My daughter will never be out of work.
There you go. There you go. And I'm sure they're scrambling. And we've heard about the shortage in healthcare all through
Yeah.
this pandemic.
We've got some great opportunities at the Workforce Board and the Center of working on a partnership with employers. Manufacturing is another big
Really?
area in the South Shore. There are over 300 businesses in the South Shore, and they're growing, and they're desperate for people.
Okay.
And it's another career path that people could take with some training and get a really decent pay. Really decent
Yeah,
pay.
yeah.
More than they probably could if they went to a 4-year college.
Because it was never thought of that way in the past.
Never thought of that way
As
in the
you're
past,
a
yeah.
line production worker, it's
Well,
a solid, stable job.
It's
but-
all changing now too, because it's all technology.
Yes.
And that's another thing that plays into the future of work, the changing workplace because of the pandemic, and also the technology that's coming. It's all more skills driven now, and we need to be able to train people to get those skills so they can fill those good jobs.
So, your advice to graduating seniors, Ron, either high school or college,
Yeah.
where do they go?
There are a number of career paths
Yeah.
and opportunities.
Yeah.
I got my 4-year degree, went for my master's. I mean, that might be changing. My son just got his master's, so hopefully, but he's in accounting, so
Okay.
I think he's going to be okay too.
All right.
Yeah, until the computers come in and take that over. I don't know. We'll see.
Is this an opportunity for entrepreneurs to start their own business?
We can encourage and support that too through the
Okay.
Career Center, but I think people, the opportunities are there for the full-time positions,
Okay.
and I think that's what we're sort of trying to drive people to, because that's where the demand is
Yeah.
on the part of the businesses that are out there throughout the South Shore.
Who's hiring?
Well, you've got a list there
Yes, I do.
of people, and
Amazon is like right on
Amazon
top.
is off the charts.
Blows them
Yeah,
away,
I think
yeah.
we've got just a variety of different folks, and Amazon is up there with 229 current openings right now.
Yeah.
South Shore Health, State Street Bank is another big employer in our
Sure.
region. They're looking currently to fill 58 positions. I go right down the list. I mean, it's there's a lot of good opportunities there for people, and here's the point where we can't necessarily show this chart.
Right.
come to the Career Center.
Yes.
All this labor market information and data is there.
Yep.
Yeah, and we could help people navigate that so that, we could look at what their experience has been, maybe what the demand is, where we could educate them to make the difference and put them in a good job.
And there's no charge, no cost for that.
No, it's all taxpayers, your taxpayer dollars.
You've already paid for it, basically.
We've already paid for
Yeah.
it, yeah, exactly.
Always great, Ron. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Yeah,
Please come back for an update in the spring. Hopefully the snow will be gone by then.
the snow will be gone by then, yeah.
Good to
Thanks,
talk to
Joe.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank
Just
you.
enough time to check the forecast. Speaking of the snow, for the rest of the day today, it's not going anywhere because temperatures are going to stay in the low 20s this afternoon and drop to the single digits this evening. A little better tomorrow, more sunshine, a little milder, better still on Wednesday. By Thursday, we could see 60 degrees with a lot of defrosting going on before the next rainstorm moves in here Thursday night and for most of the day on Friday. Thanks again going out to Ron Iacobucci for joining us today. Thank you to our crew. Thank you for watching. Speaking of Friday, here in the program, Rick Doan comes over from Interfaith Social Services here in Quincy. Don't forget to check out our website, qatv.org. You'll find our latest programs there. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.